Hey guys, and warm welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite things in my house that are Goblincore, or at least very close to Goblincore, because I feel like it kind of rides a thin line with some other things we've talked about before, like cottagecore, crowcore, even some like gothcore, kind of, you know, dark academia vibes and things like that. But essentially it all comes down to Goblincore for me, of course, and this channel. Alright, so I really want to start with books because I have quite a few. So I think I mentioned Entangled last time. It's about mushrooms and the way that they all talk with each other and the things around them, and anyway, it's very good. There's also like The Hidden Life of Trees, very good. And I think there's A Hidden Life of Animals or something similar to that, but I haven't read it yet. But kind of on that note, I love anything by the Smithsonian Handbooks, like genre. I cannot wait. One day I will have the insects ones, but this is Butterflies and Moths. As you can tell, I've got it bookmarked. I like to paint from these images. You know, they're very, very good for references and things like that, especially since, you know, a lot of Goblincore has small animals and critters and things that you're not always going to be able to get really good pictures of. Frogs, for example, very difficult to get a picture of, especially if you don't have anywhere to go around you that a frog would even live. On that same note, I really love this Home Remedies Herbs Handbook. A lot of it is also for photography and illustration references for when I do my art, but it's also super handy for just being out in nature. I also really love this book. It's called The Practical Naturalist. It goes by each kind of like biodiversity, like this one says farmland, and they do lots of really beautiful photography for just the different things available in each specific area. There's like lowlands, wetlands, you know, forest floor, stuff like that. Some of my absolute favorite Goblincore related, but I have loved way before this channel, is Frog and Toad. It's the most adorable, most simple and heartwarming little books that you can get. I found this one thrifting, and I was actually going to cut it up for some of my ephemera stuff, but it's just too beautiful. It's its own vibe altogether. And then I thought, well, I'll probably never find the full set thrifting, although that would be amazing. So I went on Amazon and I bought the entire illustrated set. It's the complete collection. I would say that it doesn't have quite the same vibe as the little ones do because the paper is different, the way that the ink prints is different, there's texture to it. Just got a much better vibe to it, I guess. But because I love the story so much, and because the illustrations are just too precious not to have all of them, you know, I really am very happy to have bought this book. I mean, it's so adorable, and it's a frog and a toad. You can't get much better. There's also snails, mushrooms, piles of leaves. They have little tea times together. It's adorable. Absolutely Goblincore and absolutely adorable. So moving from books into video games, actually, because I kind of have a little of a segue. My husband and I love them. I've played since I was little, of course, and into adulthood I have kind of found my niche to be more indie, definitely more about the artwork, go figure, and always kind of having that little like magical, foresty element to it. The segue is Stardew Valley. There's lots of games that I enjoy playing, but nothing more than Stardew Valley. And of course I was a big Harvest Moon fan from back in the day, but nothing hits the way that this game does for me. There's some kind of serotonin thing that Concerned Ape, the creator, he got perfectly right. I can play it for hours and days. I've got like 6 different farms because I wanted to try all the formats. I've made it through the game like 3 times. I'm obsessed. Carrie Fry, the artist, I'll show you the one that I've colored on this, but it's like the little coloring book that goes with it. But you know, it's full of frogs and you collect crystals and you go into caves and there's like a little forest and a swampland, and I feel like it's very Goblincore. There's little frogs that like hop around in the springtime and stuff, and when it rains, it's beautiful. This is my favorite page. I can't wait to color it. I'm almost too afraid to do it, but look at like the little mushrooms and the logs. You forage for stuff, berries, mushrooms, all kinds of, there's bats. I could just go on and on. It's incredible. But I have the guidebook, and I'll show you my favorite page here. It's like the entire cave system all the way down illustrated. Just beautiful. It's the kind of thing I want to do with my art. It's why I love this niche in general, because the stuff, typically people just don't find it beautiful. You know, frogs and dark, damp caves, but I love that kind of stuff. And Stardew Valley really champions those things. Some other games that I would recommend if you like something like Stardew Valley, there's a new one out called Witchwood. I really love it. You make potions and it's kind of like a big puzzle game because you have to do this in order to do that, in order to do that. And I really love stuff like that. But you forage, you do all that kind of thing. You build stuff. Don't starve. It's a little on the darker side of things, but you still forage and, you know, make things and build stuff, and all of that to me is very Goblincore, because you're like in the woods trying to make it, and you know, things are a little dark and creepy sometimes, but that's kind of the fun of it. Let's see what else I have down here. Okay, so also, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, I think that period alone is definitely Goblincore. But if you like video games and you don't necessarily have a D&D crew, you would really love Divinity, Original Sin, or Original Sin 2. I'm playing through Original Sin 2 on the Switch right now, and it's awesome. Dungeons, caves, treasure, foraging, building, all that good stuff. It's amazing. And you get to play like 4 characters at a time and kind of make your way through these different lands and defeat these, you know, magicians and wizards and stuff. It's great. It's a good time. All right, and moving on from video games. So, movies can be kind of difficult, I feel like, to really put in a Goblincore box. Some of them hit certain aspects really well, and then some of them kind of don't, and I'll show you what I mean. Like Lord of the Rings. Obvious. Dungeons, dragons, forests, mountaintops, going through swamps, and like, you know, treasure hunting, treasure procuring, the hobbits, shires, you know, the homes they live in alone, very Goblincore in my personal opinion. You can't go wrong. 9, and honestly anything by Tim Burton can kind of borderline be Goblincore. 9 is especially good because it's full of little like goblin horde vibes, you know, trinkets and little pieces of metal and things like that build up their land, their world, and it's very kind of steampunk, and the colors are very moody. I love Tim Burton. He's easily my favorite. I have everything that he's ever done for this reason, because it fits that world I like to be in. And speaking of that, there's really nothing better than Alice in Wonderland. You have mushrooms and caterpillars and all kinds of weird bugs and birds and tea parties, like magical tea parties. So Goblincore. Even the way that they dress, I feel like, you know, more textures, definitely more into like the darker jewel tones and deep like antique golds and brass colors and stuff. Perfect example. Sticking with Tim Burton and moving on, Miss Peregrine's. If you never read the book, it's based on, and I hope I'm getting this right, but from what I remember, it's based on the author finding a bunch of these old photographs, very Goblincore, and turning it into a story. And it's about all of these weird photos she found of kids and, like, you know, Halloween get up and all kinds of other stuff like that. But there's bugs and underwater events, and the house is old and beautiful and covered in vines. Very Goblincore. All right, the Goonies. What can I say? There's treasure, there's skeletons, it's a cave, there's a monster. I'm not gonna give a whole lot of these away because this is a true classic. If you've not seen the Goonies, do yourself a favor. All right, back to Tim Burton and Batman. Honestly, the best Batman. We can get up to that debate later on if you want to, but it's bats. It's freaking bats, man. Goblincore. All right, and I think my honorable mention is going to have to be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's one of mine and my dad's favorite videos, probably of all time. Sometimes we just randomly message each other little quotes from the movie. And of course, you can't really think about Goblincore movies without the quote, "We thought you was a toad." You know, it's got that Odyssey kind of feeling. You're going on a journey. There's, you know, rivers and lakes and a flood, and I don't know if it's really necessarily Goblincore, but if you add the color palette to kind of just the way it makes me feel, I want to put it in the same thing, but maybe it's just I have a soft spot for it. Anyway, you watch it and you tell me, let me know in the comments what you think. If you would include this in with the rest of the movies under a Goblincore genre. So the next thing I want to talk about is my phone. It used to be this color. It's kind of like it's called Not Purple or something on Google's website. But I just took like 2 different colors of nail polish and made this, like, it's completely, like, it's not scratched or anything. It did really well. I would do it again, honestly. And then I took red fingernail polish over, you can almost kind of see the veins in it. That's from the marble because that's what this pop socket was, you know? But you can kind of tell underneath it maybe. But anyway, so it's, you know, a mushroom and some moss now, and it'll do. You know, sometimes you just gotta get crafty. This is actually white acrylic paint over top of the red nail polish, and it's held up really well. Maybe it's been 2 weeks now. I recommend it if you're looking for a really inexpensive, really fast way, because it didn't take but, you know, a couple of seconds to dry like it does on your nails, and it's been awesome. All right, so I wanted to also share a couple pieces of decor. We don't have just like a whole lot of knickknacks or anything. I try to keep the house pretty minimal, but I am a collector. I know it shouldn't go hand in hand, but I have found that I can strike kind of a little bit of a balance because of the choices that I make. I am really into brass and gold, like old bronzy colors. I found this guy at a flea market. I have other brass pieces, but this one is my favorite. You can kind of see here behind me, there's a couple of pieces. A candle, a little like terrarium type thing. But anyway, crickets are very Goblincore. Lots of people hate crickets. They can be kind of noisy, and I guess people don't like them because they jump. I'm not sure, but crickets are great. They're actually good luck, and you should never kill one in your home because that's supposed to be very bad luck. I don't know if they actually talk about that in Mulan, but that's one of the reasons they put a cricket in that little cage for her to carry around with her, because crickets are good luck. And I absolutely love how old he looks. I don't know really anything about it or the maker, and I've actually looked them up and I think you can buy them on Amazon, which I find very interesting. But yeah, I absolutely love him. And on that same note, these are not actually decor. They have a use. Right now they do just sit on my counter in my kitchen because they're cute and I love them. They made their debut in one of my other videos when we went shopping. We just kind of happened across this little store outside of the Gashapon place that I like to go to. It is a snail, a hand-blown glass snail, and they are actually chopstick rests. So like, you know, say this is a chopstick. It would lay across the snail so that they don't touch the table when you put your chopsticks down in between your bites. All right, and like the last thing I want to mention, because why not, are these little moss covered rocks. So this usually sits in the center of my kitchen table just as like a little pop of green, a little something to kind of look at, but it's not real tall. I love it. Sometimes I would put like rocks or stuff in here to kind of swap it out, but these are just little mossy, like lightweight styrofoam. I think I got them at the Daiso. Super cheap, but they look nice. Now, of course, I would love for that to be real moss, but honestly, you know, low maintenance stuff is great. And I can use these when I display some of my artwork and stuff too, if I want, like, you know, some cute little things in the background. What kind of stuff do you have laying around your house that you think is Goblincore? I would love to know in the comments below. Please make sure you like and subscribe and follow along for more videos about Goblincore and the art that I do along with it. See you guys in the next video. Bye guys.